What's up guys, my name is Caleb, this is Reality Check and we do tech focused reviews. So if you like that kind of content, hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Without further ado, let's jump into today's video. We're talking about the MSI Prestige, the P65 and the MSI GS65 Stealth Thin. There's some long names there, but these are two of my favorite laptops coming out of 2018. They're really thin, they're sexy, they're light, and they're kind of targeted at two different markets. One's more content creators, the other one's more geared towards gamers, but let's talk about them in a little bit more detail. Both of these laptops are pretty much exactly the same in a lot of regards. They have the exact same chassis, the same mouse pad, etc. The only difference here you're going to see is in the aesthetic. So the Prestige lineup comes in like a white and silver combo or a white and gold combo, and then obviously the GS is just your standard gamer black, slightly more flashy aesthetic with the black and gold. The build quality feels really sturdy to me. I think it's made out of nice solid materials. There is a little bit of flex on the inner deck towards where the keyboard is sitting, but it's kind of a trade-off for having something that's so light and so portable. The fact that it's so thin means it's not going to be the most sturdy build, but no problem there from my side. The screen is probably one of the best parts of these laptops. I'm all about that ultra-thin bezel-less display. Yes, it's got a big chin, but that's kind of the sacrifice you make for such slim bezels. It looks really, really slick. Both of them are crisp and vibrant and have MSI's IPS level displays, which are fairly color accurate. It's 100% sRGB color gamut. The only difference here between the P65 and the GS65 is that the P65 is capped at a 60 Hz refresh rate, whereas with the GS65, obviously because it's more gamer, you can go all the way up to 144 Hz, which is a bit ridiculous in my book for a laptop. The keyboard is also really nice on both of them. It's actually got quite large keycaps, which makes for a really pleasant typing experience. And then there's also a really decent key press and it's well laid out. The only difference between the two of these laptops is that the GS65 is going to have SteelSeries RGB backlighting and it's per key and it's pretty dope. We know MSI does that backlighting quite nicely. Moving on to the trackpads, it's a really nice size and it's got a metallic finish. It's smooth, it's responsive, and I really like it. My only issue with it, and now this is just with the P65, is that the placement of the fingerprint scanner is really clumsy and just takes away from the overall aesthetic. And I love that feature. Like, I really like the feature of having a fingerprint scanner, but come on guys, the placement's whack. The port selection on these laptops is also fairly decent. Some might say standard, but the fact that they're so thin and small actually leaves me quite impressed with what they offer. So you get 3 USB 3s, you get 1 USB Type-C, you get an HDMI full size and then a DisplayPort Mini, as well as an Ethernet headphone jack and a mic jack. If you choose the top spec model from the Prestige lineup, you get a 1070 Max-Q and a 144 Hz display, but they also upgrade your USB Type-C to be Thunderbolt 3 enabled, and then you also get a Hi-Fi certified headphone jack. So they're giving you some serious improvements there if you choose that top of the line model. Moving along swiftly to the internal specifications. So as I said, this is the P65 8RF, and then we've got the GS65 Stealth, but the top spec one. So that one's sitting with the 1070 Max-Q, we're sitting with the 1060. Across the board, you get 16 gigs of RAM, but it's a really nice combination. And if you don't have that much money, you can actually spec it down to 8 gigs and a 1050 if you're not going to be doing anything that intensive on it. But this is what we're working with. And it's a really smooth, really responsive for gaming. It does really well in terms of content creation. It's just an overall beast for anything you might consider using it for. Obviously, the separation here is the 1070 Max-Q and the 144 Hz panel with the GS65 model, which is obviously targeted more towards gamers. And this is sitting with the 1060 and a 60 Hz panel, which just makes sense for a content creator. You don't need all those extra frames or the extra refresh rate just for doing video editing or photo editing. With regards to the battery life, it's important to keep in mind that both of these laptops are running mobile graphics cards, which is going to affect the performance. So I got max unplugged, not even gaming usage, just general usage, about 5 hours tops. Another thing to touch on would be the speakers. They've got nice clarity, but there's no volume and they're downward firing. So not really that great, but perfectly usable if you're just sitting right in front of your laptop. One difference that's worth noting, if you had to purchase these laptops side by side, you'll see that the Prestige lineup gives you access to over $400 worth of creative software, content creator software. Now, it's not any software that I use. It's not like Premiere Pro or Audition or anything like that. It's random, smaller organizations. But I guess that's pretty cool if you're a content creator and you don't have access to the software. If you don't just crack illegally like everyone else does, then that's pretty cool. That's true, dude. It's the truth. Hate me if you think it's not true, bro. In my opinion, there is not a lot you can bash with these laptops. They're slim, they're sexy, they're powerful. That's pretty much all the ticks in my book. But where they do underperform, and it's a sacrifice you have to make when you have something that's such a small form factor and is still so powerful, is the cooling. it does not handle its thermals that well. When you're on a full tilt, your CPU is going to be sitting on in between 80 and 90 degrees, even above 90 at some points, and that's with cooler boost on. So you have to be cognizant of the fact that using it for long extended periods of time might do a little bit of damage to your laptop. So cooling aside, this is a pretty dope laptop, and I think probably my favorite laptop coming out of 2018. It pretty much ticks all the boxes. It's small, it's thin, it's light, it's powerful, you've got really great speccing options, and then even then you have different models to choose from if you're more gamer or if you're more content creator. So you can get a better panel, or you can get something that's 60 Hz that makes more sense. I think it's just a really good laptop that MSI has put out onto the market now to compete with things like the Lenovo ThinkPad and even the new MacBooks, because these are less expensive and they perform better, at least in my book. Anyways guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this installment of Reality Check. Let me know what you think about the P65 or alternatively the GS65 in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time for another installment, calm down, of Reality Check. Peace!